I've always had that love of storytelling from the time I was a little girl, and then I grew up and I had my daughter. She was 4 months old whenever I wrote Linus the Troll. And I just pretty much wrote it because I felt like, how am I going to encourage her to follow her dreams if I've never followed my own?
Rosie Talley,
Yes.
welcome. Thanks for coming in today.
Thank you so much for having me here.
So, listen, Linus the Troll. This is how I'm starting. This is how we start episodes. Linus the Troll.
Yes.
Tell us about Linus.
Linus. Okay, so Linus is a scary little troll. He looks a little scary on the outside, but he actually has a really good heart, little heart of gold. I wrote Linus the Troll after I read The Three Billy Goats Gruff to my daughter, and I was feeling sorry for the troll because he eats goats. That doesn't make you a bad guy. I grew up on a farm. I ate goats.
Yeah.
I'm not a bad person. So maybe it's just misunderstood or having a bad day that day. And so I decided I was going to write about my own little troll, and Linus was a product of that. So.
Okay, so for those of you out there, Rosie is a writer, an author, and you wrote a children's book called Linus the Troll. Can you hold it up for the camera?
Yes.
Linus the Troll. Adorable.
Thank you very much.
Let's take a step back. How did you get into writing children's books?
Okay, well, that has always been something that I dreamed about ever since I was a little girl. As I said, I grew up on a farm with my dad. I would follow him around as he would do chores, and sometimes when you have a kid underfoot, you have to figure out how to keep them busy. So for him, he would do that by encouraging me to tell stories. We told stories about this meadowlark named Mackie. He was the leader of the Birdland band, but then also he was a crime fighter at night.
Of course.
I love it.
So I've always had that love of storytelling from the time I was a little girl, and then I grew up and I had my daughter. She was 4 months old whenever I wrote Linus the Troll. And I just pretty much wrote it because I felt like, how am I going to encourage her to follow her dreams if I've never followed my own? And so that was really what helped launch that career. And so that's been almost 3 years ago now. I wrote it in December of 2020. It was published in February of 2021.
Nice.
Do you have a background in writing or?
No. So my background is in insurance sales. I was in insurance sales for a decade before I had my daughter. And then I was a stay-at-home mom, and so I had some time on my hands a little bit.
Okay. Became another entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Right? That's super cool. Can you give us the overarching, without giving it away, spoiler alerts, but I mean, what's the theme?
Okay, so it's there's no plot to Linus the Troll because whenever I wrote it for the 0 to 3 age range, and that age group doesn't usually have a plot. So it's just really comparing his outer appearance to his goodness, and that's pretty much it.
Okay.
Aww.
And you have,
we have Linus and Hops with us here today.
there's Linus and Hops. They're hanging out today.
Special guest.
They're, and then I love the branding, right? Like I love this
You have to pick it up a little.
this little hat here. I've seen your daughter wear on your Instagram.
Yes.
So cute.
Yeah, I was excited when you reached out to be on the podcast. I was like, yes,
Bring me a hat.
super whimsical.
Thank you.
And is this dedicated to your daughter or?
Yes,
Okay.
her name is Anya, and I dedicated the book to her. And she's pretty much the source of all of my upcoming books, the inspiration for that. So
How old is she now?
she just turned 3 2 weeks ago.
Aww.
Oh, cute.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Fun age.
She's so fun.
I bet she keeps you busy.
Yeah, she does.
And I'm curious. I've seen the book. You're selling it on Amazon. How do people buy the book?
It's on Amazon, barnesandnobles.com. The local Barnes & Nobles has it. And then they can also, if they go to my Instagram, there's a link tree. It's listed on Gumroad, but the easiest way would be to go to my Instagram, which is Linus the Troll.
Okay.
Linus the Troll.
Yeah. When you walked into Barnes & Nobles the first time and you saw your book there, how did that feel?
Oh my goodness. That's such an ego boost. It was, it's pretty amazing. It's your dream come true. And,
Yeah.
My daughter was there, and some tears were crying.
I mean, I'm going to cry right now. Good thing I kept my tissue.
Yeah, you did.
Like, that's just got to be a good feeling. And, like,
Oh, yes.
yeah.
Just a lifetime achievement.
Yeah.
I am curious on the, like, obviously the marketing side, but I mean, just for someone out there who's like, I'm not a writer. I didn't go to school for writing. I want to create a book. Can you kind of walk through the process of, like, how did you get a book published?
So I didn't know what I didn't know. And I just dived in. I was very gung-ho about it. I got it done in 2 months.
Whoa.
Yeah. So if I were to take a step back and publish a first book all over again, I would have spent a lot more time on my pre-launch marketing, maybe like at least 6 months, gathering my tribe, I guess you could say, of followers and stuff like that. But so that was a mistake that I made. Not that it's been bad, though. It's been pretty good. But
What did that look like? Like, in terms of, like, the pre-marketing?
for me, the only pre-marketing I did, I don't know, I just kind of kept it under wraps for some reason. The only pre-marketing I did was like, hey, I've got a book. Which cover do you like? And that was like the first time I really announced it. So, yeah, I would have done that differently. But I always knew I wanted to self-publish because I'm very controlling. And I had a very clear vision of what I wanted Linus to look like. And I didn't want anybody to swoop in and tell me, like, no, he has to look like this, or it has to be like this. And so I knew I wanted to self-publish. And so I just dived in with that. And it was fairly easy for me. I found my illustrator by going on to Indiegogo.com. When authors fund their projects, sometimes they will list their illustrators. So I just compiled a list of the illustrators that I like their style, and then I did a few interviews. Anna is actually at a studio called Devio Studio, so my contact there, his name is Cyprian, and when we were doing the interview, he told me some information that was very helpful to me, and he was the only illustrator that gave me that information, like just about how many pages your book should have and things like that, like the structure of the book. And so that's why I chose him, basically.
Yeah.
But Anna really captured the image of what I envisioned Linus to be. I showed Tara my caveman drawings
It's cute.
Oh, okay.
of what
You should
I
put that
had.
in the
Okay, yeah, we'll put it up on the screen.
Okay.
episode, yeah.
Yeah, I'm super fascinated by this because I was going to ask about the whole, like, self-published versus not. I wasn't under the impression that, like, a publisher could come in and go, like, well, Linus should be yellow instead. You know what I mean? Things like that. Like,
Yeah.
like how much control?
They can control everything. They can control who you choose as an illustrator, if they want to make changes to your book, the storyline, or anything like that, and your cover. It's pretty much out of the author's hands.
Wow. Okay.
Wow.
To an extent.
Yeah.
I mean, you can have some input, but I'm just too much of a control freak. I want all of the input.
Yeah.
So
I mean, this is your second baby.
yeah,
You know?
yeah, it really is.
Like-
So, and then after I got my illustrator, it was time to find a publisher. Not a publisher. I'm sorry, a printer. Because and what I did, I'm on Amazon, which is a print on demand, so it's only printed when the book is ordered. But it's also important to have an offset printer, which is where you order your book in bulk and then it's shipped to you, and then you can distribute it however you feel. And so I have 2 offset printers. One's in China, but one's here in Minnesota. It's Lakeside Press.
Nice.
And then that was it. I had a book.
I mean, I guess
And Linus was born.
Linus was
When I
born.
born.
But you said earlier you didn't know what you didn't know, right?
Mm-hmm.
But, like, how much research do you have to do? Because now you've already talked about, like, a half a dozen steps. You know what I mean? Like, how did you get to that point where you're like, okay, I got to do this and then I do this? Were you just flying off the seat of your pants?
I was kind of flying off the seat of my pants a
Okay.
lot. I joined some Facebook groups of other authors that kind of guided me a little bit. And yeah, so there was some guidance and there was some community. But yeah, I just kind of flew by the seat of my pants. The book is 36 pages. It should have been 32, things like that, just because of the way it's printed. 32 pages can be printed on one ginormous sheet. And so it's a lot more cost effective. And so little things like that
Okay.
I could have done a little bit better, but it still
You don't
works.
know until you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting that you pick up those things that maybe obviously people who've been in this industry, it's just like second nature, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting. I didn't know. Could you have made it 32? I mean, what would you do? Just make the font smaller and
Well, I have activity pages in the back, so I
Okay.
guess I could have cut that
I see.
and just like combined a few illustrations, but I like it the way it is. So
without like obviously, not asking about numbers or anything like that, but I mean like, was it a significant investment to get this?
when you
Book printed?
self-publish, yes, it is. It's a little bit of an investment. You can kind of imagine to spend $3,000 to $5,000 to get something like this published.
Okay.
And it took about a year to recoup that.
Okay.
But for me, it took a while because my daughter was 6 months old when it was published, and it was in the height of COVID, and I was very scared about COVID. So
Yeah.
I really didn't start marketing it until May of 2022. That was when
Until it was
I
safe to go
really,
outside again.
I really started promoting it.
Yeah.
So
I see.
yeah.
What does the promotion look like when you're going full steam?
A lot of school visits, which is so much fun.
Okay.
Some assemblies at the school, which I never would have imagined that I could do something like that because in my real life, I'm very shy, I'm very introverted, very reserved. So if you had asked me 3 years ago if this is something I even thought I could do, the answer would be no. But
Yeah.
I just love Linus so much that I was able to push beyond that fear. So a lot of school visits, a lot of story times, some markets, like I do the farmers market,
Okay.
shopping expos, things like that.
Nice.
I'm curious about, because everybody obviously shops on Amazon, things like that. But I mean, like, there's definitely pros and cons, right? To using Amazon for I don't forget what it's called, like their marketplace type of thing, but versus as in print on demand versus buying it in bulk, and then you're sort of responsible for the distribution. Like, do you have any advice like between the two for other aspiring authors?
So Amazon, it's called KDP, is their printing services, and I do think it's a necessity because obviously you have worldwide distribution. But the quality of the book is not that great. Like sometimes some of the books are printed with, it'll be your cover, but somebody else's book. So, and that's just Amazon's fault. It's not really the author's fault, but then you get the reviews of,
Right.
of that.
You're not responsible for the quality assurance at that point.
Yeah. So, I mean, Amazon is obviously something that's very important for an author, but it should definitely not be your only option. You should have the offset printer.
And with Amazon, then obviously you get the worldwide distribution potential, but obviously the costs, or the percentages are obviously smaller because of that, right? Because of their take, right?
Right. Exactly.
That's the sort of a trade-off there. So, in terms of the future, right? Are you continuing to write more books? Is this like you're writing a whole series, or?
Yes. So I'm going to do a whole Linus the Troll series. I have a book. I'm hoping for it to come out in December. I'm already in the process of the illustrations. I just approved my first round illustrations last week, so second round coming soon.
Nice.
And that's so much fun. So much fun. But
Is it 32 pages this time?
it is 32 pages this time.
All right.
And so it's about Linus and his pet bunny Hops. They fall asleep one night like usual, and then they wake up and they find themselves on this incredible adventure. And they wind up on this Isle of the Huggles, or it's called the Isle of Huggles, and they meet these little creatures called the Puggles. And then they just try to have as much fun as they possibly can in one night. And that's the story. It's just kind of a fantasy type thing. So I have a full series of Linus coming out, but then I also have some aspirations to have other books not related to Linus, but that's further down the line.
Is there the Meadowlark going to be in one of those books, maybe?
That's too close to my heart. That's just
That's just for you.
that's just for me.
Do you have aspirations to, full-on novels? Are you sticking with the genre of 0 to 3 age?
So children's books, that's where my heart is, but funnily enough, whenever I wrote Linus, I did imagine it to be for the 0 to 3 age range because that's what my daughter is. But it resonated with children that were a lot older. And then that's how I started getting into schools. I actually did it for a school counselor as a friend, or just as a favor. She needed somebody to go in for Red Ribbon Week.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my gosh, I don't want to do this because the kids are not, they're going to think it's way too young for them. And I'm so scared. But I was like, you know what, I'm just going to do it for my friend and be afraid to do it anyways, right?
Yeah.
So then it was just amazing. The teachers were like, this is such a good book for kids to read when they're struggling to learn how to read because it's a simple book. And kids 2nd grade and younger like it. So that was a surprise, happy accident for me.
Because it's a good message, like you were saying, like, and this is going to sound weird, but don't judge a book by its cover.
Right.
Don't judge Linus by his green skin and purple hair, like, and his long toenails. Like, he's a sweet troll.
Yes. So now I market to children 8 and under.
Nice.
So that was an unexpected thing, but it's been great.
I like it.
What about outside of the print world? Are you looking at anything in terms of like
More hats?
animation? Well, merch obviously, but like animation or in the digital world.
So video is definitely one of the most important things to do to market anything, right, in today's world. So I am going to start a Linus the Troll YouTube channel. I've kind of already started it. I put up a intro video.
Nice.
I haven't done anything else with it just yet, but I do have plans for that. I just kind of I have to get over my own fear of being in front of the camera a little bit.
Yeah.
But mostly my YouTube channel is going to be fun things related to Linus, story times, crafts, songs. I do, when I have my story times, I have a little song I made up. It's about Linus, but it's to the tune of Bingo.
Okay.
So there was a troll with a heart of gold, and Linus was his name-o. I'm not going to sing it right now because my voice is terrible. The kids don't mind. But so I'm actually like hoping to get somebody that's a little bit more of a professional singer, if you guys know anybody,
It's not me.
to record that for me for my YouTube, and then I can use it at the story time.
Yeah.
So then,
I've seen your book on YouTube. Other people reading your book.
yes.
I've seen a lot of videos. So they were praising how the message and things like that. And so I was curious. I was like, there's like, I mean, YouTube is obviously, you know, a huge platform. We're on it right now. But diving a little deeper in that, because I say like the story time aspect, I mean, but like, will you have an entire, like, are you looking to an entire series? And what does that look like? I mean, there's a Linus, I'm looking at the Linus cartoon, animation, things like that,
Oh
right?
my
Like,
goodness, that would be a dream come true. Because, you know, Pete the Cat was a self-published book originally, and now there's an Amazon series that my daughter loves.
Oh, wow,
And
okay.
it's such a clever little show, and that is like #goals.
Yeah.
Okay. If you're listening out there, but I mean,
So Pete, I think the story behind Pete the Cat is that there was these 2 little kids that were reading it on YouTube. Harper Collins somehow got a hold of it, and then they were like, hey, this is an awesome book. And so it just took off from there. So yeah, if that could happen for Linus, I would be so thrilled.
okay.
Yeah, seriously.
Are you looking, I mean, are you entertaining the aspect of working with a publisher, a full-on publishing house?
I don't know. That's something I may consider.
Okay.
It's just whether or not I would want to give up that control or not. But I mean, of course, they can take you places that I wouldn't be able to go by
Right,
myself.
right.
Yeah.
So I would definitely be open to the idea, maybe. But it just depends if the terms are right, I guess.
That makes sense.
Like,
Yeah.
I wonder if, like, when you have, like, an established character like Linus and Pete the Cat, like, at that point, like, you know, if you already have, like, 2 or 3 or 4 books out, like, would they still come in and, like, make changes to, like, the way the character looks and stuff? I wonder?
Not at that point, but
Good.
what happens is they would, you know, pay you for your licensing, and then they can also publish some books that
Without-
are not necessarily have anything to do with the original author. So that can
Oh, like some B, like what is it? Like when it's like
Linus Goes to Hollywood. And
like
it's just
if
like
you go to the Dollar Tree, there's like books that are like $1.
Yeah.
And they're like, you know,
knockoffs.
yeah.
the knockoffs. There you go.
But they
Yeah,
have,
yeah.
you know, the author got paid the licensing fee or whatever. So
It's
But-
like,
It's like when there's
Emerald and Bobby Flay, they just
Yeah.
license their name to the restaurant.
or while there's like 30 different Sharknado movies, right?
Tara Reid. Oh, sorry.
Cut that part out. Terry's gonna sue us. No. Okay, so self-published for now. Man, I really love
The
this
right
YouTube
deal
ideas.
comes
Like the traditional publishers would not license your book out, but it's like when you do the Amazon stuff.
Gotcha.
The
I see.
Netflix and Amazon, they can Amazon Prime, not Amazon KDP. That's two different things. But like if you were to do a series with Amazon Prime and if they license your character, then they can do what they want with it.
Gotcha.
Okay, here, what about could there be a live action show with Linus? And if so, who would you want to play Linus?
Oh my goodness.
I love this game.
That put me on the spot. Let's see. The only thing I can think of is the little girl that plays on Gabby's Clubhouse, but I don't know if that would work or not.
Okay,
That's the only thing that comes to mind.
Gabby's Clubhouse.
I
Okay,
gotta look this person up.
we will. We'll put her on the screen. Okay.
I can't think of any like little boys that could.
What if it was a
I mean,
full-grown man?
I'm
full-grown
thinking like
man.
Zac Efron
Yeah, if it was like a drama,
for Linus.
you know what I mean? A whole series on Netflix. Who's playing Linus?
Who's playing Linus?
Hops is Jack Black for sure.
I mean,
I can see that. Maybe a Skarsgård brother, like the guy that plays it. What's his name?
I know, yeah. That played
I think his name is Bill.
Pennywise?
Yes. Yeah, Pennywise. Yes,
Okay.
sorry.
Okay. Yeah, because you obviously have the voices in your head. You know what I mean in terms of like their voices, right?
I think his name is Bill Skarsgård. Let's
It
go
is
with
Bill
him.
Skarsgård. Yes, you're right. Yes.
I could see him doing a very good job.
Okay. As Linus. Mm-hmm. Okay.
And Jack Black, that would be great for Hops. Yeah, I could
That's
see
a
that.
great. That's a great show.
Or
That's a
what
great
about
movie.
no, never mind, that one wouldn't be good.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
I mean,
and I
didn't
can't
know.
remember his
We
name.
could go
either.
Ryan Gosling, maybe. Who knows? I mean, it's just like but I like Skarsgård. Yeah. All right.
I mean,
like
he just
that.
did such an amazing job with Pennywise. He was really terrifying. So I mean, he could be like cute and terrifying with
Sure.
Linus.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll put out some.
Let's put out some fillers.
There we go. Yeah. There's got to be some movie houses that watch this, right? You'd hope so. Some casting directors. Wow. So you said more books. Do you have any like dates in mind? Like how far along are you in the in the next book?
Okay, so I do believe I should be able to have that out pretty quickly since we're already on round 2 almost. So I am aiming to have it out before Christmas. So
Oh wow. Okay.
yeah. So
that
Christmas
marketing
presents.
versus the first book. How does that marketing look different?
So I'm doing a little bit better about reaching out to influencers and asking them if they would like to review my book. That's one of the big things is getting a lot of reviews right away on Amazon. There's like a 2-week window where if you get a lot of traction on your own to your Amazon page, then Amazon, it triggers something in that algorithm and then they will push your book. And so I
Like
need
in
to...
recommendations?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And it'll appear on their list, not necessarily bestsellers list or anything like that, but
But like new books to check out
right.
kind of thing. Yeah.
So I really need to try to get at least 50 is a benchmark for them 50 reviews for them to really take notice of your book. So trying to build a team of advanced readers that receive my book for free in exchange for an honest review. Whether or not they want to review, it's up to them. But
Yeah.
that's the thing; it has to be an honest review. So that's really one of the big things, trying to get those 50 reviews within that first 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Interesting. This is just me going back to my marketing brain all the time, but I mean, like, so I've seen people reading Linus the Troll on their YouTube channel. Are they're considered the influencers from a video perspective, or are there a certain like are these like, you know, when I go to like the people that come to review the restaurant where they're just like, what are those people called?
A food critic.
Yeah, like are there like
So as far as influencers, I've kind of just I'm thinking of Instagram influencers like toddler moms, homeschool moms, teachers, anybody
Okay.
that can read it, promote it on their Instagram, but then also would be willing to go onto Amazon and say, yeah, I like this book or whatever. If they didn't, that's fine too.
Okay.
But then also maybe like going on to just Facebook groups as far as locally and asking mommies here, like, hey, I'm a local author. Will you read this book for me? And then leave a review. Doing some more Amazon ads within that first week, a 2-week period. Doing a free ebook promo on Amazon, things like that that can really drive a lot of traffic to my book.
Yeah, that's smart.
Interesting. Yeah, I wouldn't know of the toddler influencers.
Toddler mom.
Toddler mom, right. But that makes so much sense. But I'm sitting there going like, yeah, who? I was like, maybe there's an influencer. I would, know their name. I don't know. That's interesting. And you don't have a PR team. This is you,
No, it's
right?
me.
Just you.
Me
Okay.
and my husband.
Okay.
He designed the hats. He came up with the idea for the hats.
These are. Let's show this again because these are sweet.
Where did you have it made?
So the same company that made my plushies and my hats, it's called I Got a Toy, and it's based out of China. And so I just went onto the Facebook group for authors, and I asked other authors that had a plushie made, and got some recommendations. And so I got a toy. And I wasn't even sure if they were going to be able to pull off the hat, but they did a pretty good job.
Like, I love that the ear is like, I don't want to say it's like hard, but like it
Has
it's just
shape,
like,
yeah.
it has shape.
Halloween's coming up. Christmas is coming up.
Oh my gosh.
If your child is like mine and just likes to dress up randomly,
And it's just so soft.
That is amazing. I mean,
That could be my new sleep
could there be
bonnet.
adult sizes? Just throwing it out
maybe in the future.
Nice.
This size is for 3 to 8 years old.
there. Okay.
It's a one size fits all.
Curses.
One size fits all of 3 to 8 year olds.
Yeah,
Yes.
one size.
Yes.
Or people with pinheads.
Okay.
Like my stepmother.
Yeah, that's not staying in.
But it's not a bad thing to have a
She's
tiny
gonna
head.
Go, yeah, that's common knowledge.
That's what she says. She says she looks bad in hats because she's got a pinhead.
So, are you still in insurance?
No. I quit that whenever I had my daughter, and I have no desire to go back to that.
Okay, that's
I mean,
fair.
it was good to be in insurance sales, as far as having the background of sales, because not a lot of people realize that when you're an author, you are a business owner and you are marketing more like you have this kind of vision of authors sitting in front of their computer with bonbons in front of a fire. Maybe they're drinking tea. That's that's their
Curled
day.
up next to the fireplace, sipping their cocoa.
Yeah, but that's not really that's like 2%. The rest of it is like you got to get yourself out there and you got to be promoting yourself. So having a sales background is beneficial for that reason.
I
would
bet.
say, yeah.
I feel like every movie that I've seen about the writing process, I guess, right? To that point, but it's always like they open up their laptop and there's, that's writer's block, right? And they're just sitting, and then all of a sudden the publisher's like, hurry up, we already gave you this $1 million advance. And then they just write the book in 3 days or something like that, right? So that's not how it is. Okay, got it.
No. So I think Hemingway said that you want to write drunk and edit sober, right? But for me, like I don't drink. So for me, I get the best ideas when I'm like really super tired, like laying in bed. I'm like, oh, I gotta write this down like right now, or I'm gonna forget it. But like that's kind of how Linus came about. Is I was sleep deprived because I had a 4-month-old, and then in the middle of the night and just had this idea. So I mean, after I read the Three Billy Goats Gruff, and it kind of just germinated. And
Yeah.
so
This is super cool. Yeah, I don't think I've ever honestly met an author.
So there's actually quite a few authors here in Midland, which whenever I first wrote the book, I had this idea that I was the only author here in town for some reason. But then it was like, wow, I've met like 6 or 7 authors, and children's authors, and I was like, I had no idea Midland was such a mecca for children's authors. But
Interesting.
yeah.
I'm just going to say I'm glad that you don't write children's books drunk.
That's fair. Yeah, Linus would take a weird toll. This is so cool. Man, what about merch? Like, what are you looking towards merch-wise?
Merch. Well, I have my my Puggle book is coming out, so a cute little Puggle would be a really cute plushie to add to my line. Maybe some T-shirts. I had tried to make some T-shirts last year, and I looked at some print-on-demand companies because I just didn't want to have a lot of stock of different
Inventory,
sizes
Sure,
of
sure.
shirts. That could get kind of crazy, I think.
Just boxes in your garage? Yeah.
I mean, I already have boxes of books, so and the quality wasn't really there. So
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, maybe I can do something that's just like limited sizing. But so going back to the Puggle plushie, though, a Puggle is just like this little monster thing. My daughter is always asking me to draw her just random stuff, and she wanted me to draw her a monster.
Okay.
And so it's just kind of this fluffy thing that kind of looks like a cloud with 2 feet
Cute.
and big eyes.
Yeah.
And so that would be something that would be really cuddly. So
Okay. Yeah, I've seen those types of monster type of plushie type of things just like go crazy online, right? And so,
yeah.
I mean, how much time are you spending with like crafting social media posts and coming up with new ideas for that thing? I mean,
Oh, not as much as I need to be for sure. I need
Okay.
to step up my Instagram game.
I mean, you have a toddler running around.
Yeah,
So I
that's
know
true.
you're a little busy.
Yeah.
but that's a lot of inspiration too. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
so much energy.
Yes.
Sure. In this day and age, right? Like obviously entrepreneurs and sort of like a dream for many people, right? Own your own business and you can control your own destiny and things like that. Like how difficult though is it to like, can you be a full-time self-published author, you know, in what amount of time, like what should people's expectations, I guess, be?
So you could definitely be a full-time self-published author. There are some out there already. Mr. J is a big one. He writes the Ricky the Rock That Cannot Roll book. And
Okay.
that's somebody that I look up to because he's done it. So, and he's really cool because he does put out a lot of information for new authors. So if you are aspiring,
Nice.
I would definitely look up Mr. J and take some of his courses because he's amazing. And so I feel like if he's done it, I can definitely do it too.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, you can do it.
Man, Ricky the Rock That Can't Roll.
Yes. So when you're reading the story, it doesn't sound like, I mean, it just sounds like a normal story, but it's actually about his daughter who has a disability. And so, yeah, so you don't get that unless you know, like if you have a child that has a disability, it's going to click with you. But if you
Yeah.
don't, it just kind of goes over your head a little bit. But so.
Interesting.
I like the aspect of the children's book because just being an old man that I am, right? I was like, and I was never a big reader once I sort of entered, I guess, probably junior high and things like that. And so it's still so important. So as much as video and social media and things like that, like obviously for children's development, right? Books,
Yeah.
right? Reading to your child is super important, not just, you know, giving them an iPad or whatever and letting them watch our podcast on YouTube. Go ahead and tell them like and subscribe. That's fine. But I like that aspect that you're like, no, I'm keeping it like this is what I was inspired by. Books, you know what I mean? You didn't just immediately go into, oh, I'm going to build an app,
Yeah.
or you know, I'm going to build a, I don't know, whatever those like, not Tamagotchis, but what are the new things like the popping, what are the fidget spinner type
Oh,
of,
yeah.
you know what I mean?
Oh,
Type
like
of things.
they look
Yeah.
like bubble wrap kind of?
Yeah. I don't know what those are. I don't know. I feel so out of touch. I'd love to speak with you more on your plans for YouTube. I'm just so
Okay.
bullish on YouTube. It's literally all I consume. And I love this idea. And there's so many different paths that you can take that I'm excited for you.
Yeah, I mean, it's YouTube is so cool because it's like regular people can just create content, and
Yeah.
it's like that was so closed off like 10 years ago, and like you know you had to go through major media, and
Yeah.
so it's just so amazing
And you have to
what
have
you
like
can do.
huge budgets and
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no red tape. You can start today. You just got to start recording. That's
I
it.
mean, how much money did that kid who was just built Legos? What is he worth now? Like,
His name is Ryan. I mean,
Chuck? No.
I mean, it's like this is me probably 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Trying to convince my son, who's now 18, so he's 8, and going like, there's a kid on YouTube that just builds Lego sets for an hour, right?
It makes $2 million.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think I want to say it's definitely like dozens of millions of dollars per year that family produces. Now has multiple channels and stuff like, obviously I'm not consuming toddler and child YouTube videos anymore.
Now that your children are older.
But I see the potential there, right? And it's like, children are the one of the biggest consumers of YouTube.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And so it makes so much sense to take advantage of that. And so, listen, just from not even on this podcast perspective, like if there's any way that we can help, in terms of just like ideas perspective or strategy.
He's good at the strategy. Yeah.
That's basically what I do. And it sounds, I'm happy to help somebody who's local here in Midland and is really trying to make a difference and give back to kids. And
I might take you up on that.
Please do.
He will geek out on it.
Please do. I think it's exciting. And I really love, I mean, this is why, you asking to come on, I was like, it's not in the realm. Like, normally I wouldn't know questions to ask, a children's author. I don't read children's books. My children are grown. But I see the message there and I see the story behind it. And more importantly, I see somebody who's like not passionate about what they were doing. You're working in insurance.
Yeah.
Right. You've always had this, love to write a book, and you did it. Right.
Yeah.
And you're continuing to do it. So, I commend you there.
Thank you.
This is really cool. And Linus is cool.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
Linus, Hops.
Yeah, Linus and Hops, if you have any words, I'll do some voiceover stuff later, and I'll just, I'll reach out to Bill Skarsgård for you and Jack Black.
Yeah.
Definitely reach
Let's
out.
make that happen.
I think we're related.
To Pennywise? Okay, that's fair. Well, Rosie, listen, we really appreciate you coming in today.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Like I said, let's talk and go purchase Linus the Troll. And does Hops have a social media or anything? Do they have a social media they want to push?
So Linus the Troll, that's it. On Instagram.
Okay.
On Facebook, I'm under author Rosie Talley.
Okay.
I have a TikTok that's dismal right now. It's like I don't have much on it, but it's also author Rosie Talley.
I see dancing Linus videos in your future for sure. Make that happen.
Put them on little marionette strings.
Yeah, and if you're a influencer and you review books, reach out to Rosie. Like, she'd love to get some more exposure for her book. And let's blow this up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Let's make a whole series about this. I'm not saying we're a part of this. We're not. We have no producer titles or anything like that, but I think it'd be cool. I'd love to see a full-on animation series with this. It'd be super cool.
Me too. I would love for that to happen. That's something I really dream about. So.
All right. Well, let's do it.
Yeah.
Well, thanks again.
Thank you.
We really appreciate your time, and thank you, Linus. Thank you, Hops. And we'll see you on the next one.